right, guys, welcome back to the Side Dish Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Shin, joined as always by my co-host, Jay Lee, our friend Suman Han.
Hello.
And our special guest, Jay Lee.
Yo.
Well, I should say Jay Lee Sr., or Uncle Jay, we like to call you.
Yeah.
It's been so confusing ever since you joined our friend group, Jay, because for a long time there was like, we had to come up with a disambiguation between you and Jay, basically. And also, Jay Sr.'s Korean name is Jae-ho, which is my Korean name. Yeah. So there's like a little trifecta going on here.
There's more to that because my mom's maiden name is Shin.
Oh, my God.
Oh, wow.
And I don't really have a relationship with my father or his family. So, like, I grew up with
That's right.
the
I'm
Shins.
your father from the past.
So, I at one point, I
after
almost wanted to decide, or I actually asked my mom, she said no, that I wanted to change my last name to Shin.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I could have been Jay.
You could have been
Shin.
Jae-ho
Yeah,
Shin.
Shin Jae-ho, bro.
Yeah.
Do you not believe in the multiverse theory now?
Funny you say that. Guess what I saw last night? Multiverse.
A multiverse movie? Yeah.
Deadpool.
Oh, nice. Oh, wait. Like
Yeah.
the new one?
Yeah.
Or don't say anything. Please
Yeah.
don't say
Opening
anything.
night.
Don't say anything,
Can I just say 4D?
Okay, that's all.
You can say that, but
Holy
no
crap.
spoilers.
Don't say anything else,
Yeah.
dude.
Okay.
We don't want to know anything.
We don't
Okay.
want to know. On this podcast, we have a recurring bit where people are like, I just saw this movie, and then the rest of us go, don't fucking say anything.
Well, I must say, I'm not spoiling anything, but it was difficult to watch only because this is the very first of
4D?
its kind for me.
Oh,
Like I
interesting.
never
Like a
saw an
4D
Avenger.
movie?
Never saw.
Never seen-
I
never
see.
seen
Like
any.
the universe. You're not familiar with the
nothing.
universe.
That's so bizarre,
Oh,
but I guess that
cool.
kind of makes sense. You didn't grow up with with Marvel movies, but you did grow up with comic books being really big in your time.
Something I guess I could throw in and share right at the top. Like, you know that I've only read 3 books in my life. I'm not into movies. I'm not into games.
What 3 books did you read, Jay?
He likes K-dramas, though.
I love K-dramas, though.
Yeah.
I'm an aficionado.
You're a Korean ajumma.
Yeah, for sure.
Wait, what are the 3 books that you read?
Okay, The Firm.
Okay, John Grisham. It's
Only
a
because I
famous one.
found it in my brother's room, and I'm like, I'm going to start reading.
And there's a really sexy beach sex scene in that book.
And I love the movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
And then I read Scar Tissue, which is Anthony Kiedis' autobiography.
About the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Which, gosh, that just like brought me back to LA, and everything in that book was just so real. And then Crazy Rich Asians.
Crazy Rich Asians.
Yes. Okay.
Wow.
Very
That's a sick
interesting.
book.
So The Firm,
I enjoy
Scar
books.
Tissue,
It's just I'm not
Crazy
into
Rich
books.
Asians.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
enjoy books. You're such a liar.
Yeah.
You're so full of shit, dude.
I don't enjoy books.
Before we get into the dish of the week, I just want to debrief a big weekend. Jaehyun and I were in Singapore for a surprise birthday for our friend Justin that his wife Elena threw, and it was incredible. She went far and beyond out of anything that I've ever experienced, like rented out a bar. Okay, there were 2 surprises for Justin, right? The first surprise was me and Jen had flown out to Singapore, and we like showed up at his apartment. He kept saying, "This is so random." What, dude?
Did he not know?
He had no idea.
Oh,
Did he cry a little bit?
No. He was just like, he had a really big grin on his face. He was obviously very happy and just kept saying, "This is so random. This is so random. What are you doing here?" Yeah. And so that was the first night on Thursday. We hung out, got dinner. And then the next night we all got dinner. But then Elena had also planned a second surprise for him where all of his other friends were at a bar waiting. And we were all dressed up like in office clothes because it was supposed to be like a seminar themed where he's like the guest of honor speaking about like how to
we
scale
saw
your business. It was
pictures.
really cute.
Yeah, it's very cute.
So that was like a great way to kick off the week. And into the weekend, Jaehyun and I went to like the top 3 cocktail bars in Singapore. No reservations, just walked in. And yeah, we had such a great time there. But unfortunately, we also missed Subin's birthday at Vin Vin
Yes.
Vin, which we saw
Insane.
videos. It looked so fun. And then also
Yeah.
Jay's birthday was on Tuesday. So how was your birthday night, man?
Wednesday. It was good.
Oh, yeah. Yesterday was your birthday.
Yeah.
Tuesday was a party.
It was good, low key. Just got some brunch, got some dinner.
When we were in Singapore, we went shopping, and I was looking out for like him. Like we saw a water bottle that was hella sick. It was $100 though, and I was like, I don't know. Is Jay worth $100? It was a really nice water bottle, and I kind of shelved it in my head because we were just doing around the store, and then we like left, and like an hour later, I was like, oh fuck, we should have bought that water bottle for Jay.
Wait, what makes a water?
I
bottle?
I don't
feel
know,
like-
but it was like really pretty. It had like a really pretty cap, and we were at Dover Street, so obviously it was like some really nice brand.
How was Singapore?
Singapore's awesome. Have you not been?
I've never been.
Dude, Singapore is sick.
I want to
Singapore
go.
is clean. It's small. It's like a big, clean Itaewon. That's what Singapore is.
Whoa.
Yeah, everyone speaks English.
English.
It's just like easy. It's expensive though. I'll
Nice
say that.
cafes,
Nice
bars.
cafes, great bars. Everyone's super friendly. Yeah, I mean Modern. It's hot, obviously.
Hot, yeah.
Taxis are very expensive. So like getting around the city, if you don't take the public transit, you're gonna spend a fortune just like hopping around from place to place. But yeah, Jan and I really liked it. Yeah, we could totally imagine ourselves being expats there for sure.
Really?
Yeah, because the community, like everyone there who is an expat is like super friendly. All the natives are super friendly. Singapore's a very diverse place as well. So I don't know. I just really liked it. And Justin and Elena's friends are super fucking cool. So we kind of, we spent like a good weekend hanging out with people and like vibing it out. 100% could imagine ourselves living there. It felt much like Itaewon in that way. Yeah.
Scale of 1 to 10. 10
see.
meaning like you would live there. I guess it's a 10.
I
then.
guess it's like I'd probably give it an 8.
I see.
Yeah, I think JM gives
Oh.
it an 8.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
because it is very expensive.
That is in the excellent range.
You would have to be making pretty like
I'd have to
fucking
be
money.
making
You'd
some
have
fucking
to,
money.
Yeah.
A company would have to like relocate you out there
Right.
because it's a small city
Yeah.
and it's very expensive. A lot of people end up getting like weekend homes, like
sure
in
real
Thailand or
estate's
some
expensive,
Bali or
too.
whatever, and then they just leave during the weekends. But at least the people that I know.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
That's what we talked about too. Is it would probably get boring living in Singapore
pretty
after a
quick.
few months. But
Yeah.
if you have a high disposable income, just fly to Thailand is 2 hours away.
Exactly.
Malaysia is just an hour bus ride away.
Yeah.
You can
How
like,
many hours
travel.
from Incheon?
6 hour flight?
Oh,
Five and a
that's
half
pretty
hour
far.
flight. It was further than I thought.
Yeah.
But definitely a lot of fun. Well, actually, that's great because speaking of fuck you money, today's episode, the dish of the week, is about money and success.
Layup.
And the reason why this is Jay Lee's episode, Jay Lee Senior's episode, is because Jay is the most successful person I can call a friend. He has like 3 Porsches. You own multiple properties. And these are all signifiers of success. But I think what we want to get into in this episode is picking your brain about what constitutes success in your eyes and kind of what your relationship with money and success has been, because you kind of got more successful in your 30s. It wasn't like early that you were like making a fuck ton of money, right?
Well, I've never struggled. That's for sure. Only because I've worked hard. I think I started working when I was 14 and a half.
What was your first job?
It was a stock boy at a luggage store at the local mall. And honestly, I had to get a work permit. I was so young.
Do you remember what the minimum wage was or what?
$4.25.
$4.25.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And it was after school. And I, honestly speaking, I have not been unemployed since.
Wow.
So I continuously worked.
Badass.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I could. You could consider me unemployed now because I don't really work much.
I think you're living. We'll get to that at the end of the
we'll get to that
episode.
later, but
Yeah.
it's not like I'm not unemployed now.
Semi-retirement is what I would call
Yeah,
it.
early retirement.
Yeah.
Well,
I
you
would
you
say.
have like investments and a business that you have a passive income, I think.
passive, but then I do have a legitimate business that I run as a CEO. So it does take a little time, but it's pretty much running on its own.
I see a lot of these TikTok reels or Instagram reels where it'll be a guy being like, if you have $25,000, don't invest in stocks. Like, don't buy real estate. Buy a laundromat. And it's this guy explaining how if you buy like very simple businesses that have steady cash flow.
I truly believe in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me of you every time I see that motherfucker. He's like, now pay me $100 a month to learn my secrets and download my PDF.
No, all those TikTok videos are true, yet it's the wrong era. You can't do what these guys are doing in the current economic environment.
Sure.
You could have done it in the 80s, 90s, and even early 2000s, but not anymore. Cap rates on real estate so low. It's just interest rates are so high. Everything, all asset prices are so high.
In your opinion, then, right now, do you have an insight into
Laundromat. No, seriously. Laundromat, car wash, vending machines.
vending machines?
If you're gonna start out low, you want to do something that not everybody is doing. It's really tempting to like start a cafe or a bar or something that like
Those are the only two businesses I can think of.
yeah, but you really want to like think about things that are just obscure, like importing spoons or kitchenware.
That's kind of like how you fell into your line of work right now, right? It's something a little bit more obscure. Do you mind telling the listeners like what you do?
Well, we manufacture electric drills that manicurists use on fingernails. So every nail salon that you see in this world, the technicians that are doing your nails have their set of tools. And one of the main tools that they use is a high-powered drill. And we manufacture those and all the accessories.
And you guys are the number one global
We're
seller
number
of it?
two
Okay.
in at least in America, but we do sell to 26 countries.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's almost how like the side dish is now reaching about 8 countries. We have listeners in about 8 countries, and we're coming
Yeah,
for
it adds up. Yeah,
It
like
adds
I was
up, yeah.
pretty shocked to find out that statistic. But if you think about it, we have trade shows in Dubai and Germany and Israel and South America.
And you know the thing about nails too. I'm speaking out of my ass because I don't know if this is true, but I just feel like nails is kind of a recession-proof business because
That's how I survive.
You know what I mean? Like women who get their nails done are still going to get their nails done in a recession.
Yeah.
I bought my business in 2008.
Wow.
Right at the financial crisis.
Oh shit.
And I was like the only person that survived because
Damn.
you know you're a stripper on her last dime and she'll still get her nails done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a great example.
Okay.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Jay. That's a great
Didn't
example.
realize that.
And there was a time where I was really paranoid that like, oh, the next generation is going to be all kind of hippie and natural and like not do nails. But my gosh, it's just taken off. It's like now there's 3D nail art. It's crazy. Everyone
Jen
gets
was
their nails
telling
done.
me about some sort of magnet crap that they're putting on nails to like make. I don't get it. I don't understand.
Well, there's always like this new technology that probably will wean me out someday, but I don't see it happening in right now, and I'm getting older.
What would it take to sell your business? How much? Name your number.
It's worth a lot. I would say 20
million?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. That's about like probably the if you appraise my businesses, it's roughly 20
I
million.
see. Yeah, that's actually the number that the side dish is appraised at right now, 20 million.
So my big idea is to sell my business.
20 million wands?
even that's way too high.
My ultimate like dream right now, which my wife it doesn't make sense for me because I'm still young, you know.
How old are you, Jay?
55.
And you are young though. You have such a young soul too.
Like I can't see myself like not working anymore right now. It's maybe I'll think about it when I'm 65, maybe 70. But right now, if I sold it for that kind of money, my dream right now is just to CD ladder it.
CD ladder, as
Yeah.
in like
Just like park in a CD and
Buy a
then
bunch
just
of CDs, like
Oh.
break certificate deposits.
Yeah.
Break it up into like 10 or 15 CDs where each year one of them matures. So worst case scenario, I need the cash. I have at least one of the CDs maturing and I can take the cash.
Yeah.
And at that amount of money in today's interest rates, I mean, it's 10. Yeah, what's 20 million times 5%? It's 1 million a year.
1 million there.
Would be like my income
Sick.
forever. You know.
Well, you should just do that.
That's like not that much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said earlier, fuck you money, and that's definitely not fuck you
Yeah.
money.
But
It definitely is.
No, it's more than enough. It's way
definitely a
more
lot
than
of money.
enough.
It's a lot of money.
I don't
It's
spend
more than
nearly
enough.
I think
For
spending
anybody.
$1 million a year takes a lot of effort, right?
Well, there was a long period of time where interest rates of CDs were like less than 1%, and it just didn't make sense. But now they're 4 or 5, sometimes even close to 6%. And I really, honestly, people will argue with me. I think the low interest eras are gone. I think we're gonna have high interest rates.
That sucks.
High interest rates.
How are we ever going to afford a home?
I mean, back when I was a
Exactly.
kid, I remember I started in real estate, so I'll explain that. But I remember a time where I refinanced to get the low 8%.
Yeah.
8% was considered like the best interest rate in town.
Wow.
So it's a complete anomaly that we went into 0% interest rate, and that screwed up your generation, honestly. The financial crisis and going to 0% interest for like 10, 15 years straight just ruined the landscape of economics and completely created this huge divide in lower and upper class. And that's what I think.
Do you feel like you would be willing to pay higher taxes to make up for the mistakes of your generation, to our generation?
I already pay
more,
But
ridiculous.
individually
more?
to
Yeah, more.
each of us.
Exactly.
Just kidding.
You should.
Yeah, I vote yes.
Yeah, it's called the 40 under tax. If you have friends who are 40 or under, you have to give them $1,000 a month each. No, Jay takes care of a lot of people in his family.
yeah.
He doesn't need to take care of his friends.
And us. Jay's always like,
Jay's very generous with us
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
That's I'll get into that, but I think generosity is something that I'm proud of. I try to be as generous as possible. Yeah, for sure.
Could be more generous to me though. Anyway, what has been some of the biggest challenges you faced in your career before the Dremel business in 2008 kind of started taking off? What were like the lower points for you when you were getting your footing? Because I know you went to business school.
So business school was kind of like more or less a badge of accomplishment that I did in order to kind of prove to my in-laws and that I was serious and
he
that
did it for love.
I did it, yeah, but I didn't need it for sure.
That's such a Korean marriage, by the way.
I didn't need it for sure. It was an adjunct. It didn't help me in anything. It honestly didn't help me. It put me back up.
Like $200,000.
Yeah, many tens of thousands.
Yeah.
So I definitely don't consider business school whatever, but I was thinking about it. I read that in the outline earlier, and that was the one thing that I kind of struggle with to answer, because I got to be honest with you, I couldn't really think of any challenges.
You've just had the most chill fucking life.
And like I'm thinking, why was that? Why did I not have any huge obstacles and challenges or sufferings or failures? Like, you know how they say you gotta fail to like succeed, blah, blah, blah. And I really never did. And I think the reason why is I'm a glass half empty guy. And
so you're a pessimist.
I'm a pessimist.
Huh.
And I always shoot for the most realistic scenario. And my goals, my milestones are always in line with what would be totally achievable.
Yeah.
So once I hit the milestone, it's just a building block from there.
Right.
And the other thing is, and it kind of ties into what I would recommend for the future generation that are interested in to be successful and stuff, is I don't believe in using other people's money.
So you don't believe in borrowing money?
Borrowing from the bank is great.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you borrow from the bank sensibly. And sensibly, I mean, like, you have to think of the worst case scenario.
Yes.
And if that happens, I could still pay back the bank. But I don't believe in my idea is so great that I'm going to get all these investors to invest in my idea. Ideas are crap. It's bullshit.
Well, ideas are cheap, for sure.
Ideas are cheap. It's
Yes.
action and results. And more than likely, your ideas will fail in life.
I had a buddy who wanted to start a business a few years ago, and he asked me for like maybe $10,000. And I was like, fuck no. There's no way. You're a friend, but I'm not giving you any fucking money. I wouldn't give you $100, dude. I don't believe in...
And he was asking you for 10, but he was asking 10 friends for 10.
something like that. Yeah.
If you do that, you are, first of all, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. And secondly, if your idea fails, like, let's say you saved up $100,000 and started your business, but it was your money and you blow it. Well, you could just go back to what you're doing and then second time around, let's do it again. But if you lose $100,000 of someone else's money, you not only lose your face, credibility, bankruptcy. I mean, you go so many steps backwards. You're not starting back at zero. You're starting at -5.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right.
And I think that creates struggle.
So that's been... So you in your career never took personal loans from friends or anything, but you did take bank loans, obviously.
Bank loans for sure,
Yeah.
but I've always been like 50% in, you know? because I always thought like 50% in. If I lose the bank, if I lose my business, I could sell the asset or what my 50% is.
Right. You're always looking for the exit strategy.
Exit strategy first.
I think that's smart. Yeah.
And so, your dream gets smaller when you do it that way. But if you achieve that dream, it's so much easier to just jump onto the next block. You're building a foundation, essentially.
Right. You want to have a series of successful wins, basically.
Yeah. Starting
rather
small.
than like a big ultimate crapshoot, basically.
Yeah.
That 90% percent of entrepreneurs fail. I guess that's really good advice. So that's probably been your key to success, essentially, is like use my own money when I can.
Yeah.
Don't be indebted to people. Like keep a good reputation too, I think is important, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to, because I feel like if you borrow money from a homie, you don't pay it back. Not only do you lose standing with that homie, but it's like you lose faith in yourself, even, right? It's kind of like soul crushing. Yeah.
And a lot of people like I've met, 2008 was when I went on my own, and right out of the gate I was successful. Meaning, like, I think the very next few months I leased an S-Class Mercedes. I mean, it was like immediate, like, next level lifestyle. And so a lot of my friends back in LA never knew me as like
a flashy person.
Normal person. They've always known me as someone.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And everybody assumed that I came from money and my parents were rich and blah, blah. It couldn't be far from the truth. It's like is that the right?
Further from the truth.
Yeah.
But saying that can't be far from the truth is also a very funny perversion of that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I come from a broken family. My parents were not good with money. Couldn't, they tried, but definitely didn't come from my parents.
Did you ever, when you were a kid, I mean, you got your first job at 14, but were you just a scrappy hustler type of kid?
No, I was just a very diligent worker. But then when I graduated before I graduated college, I had an opportunity to work with a small company. I was making $8 an hour on the phones as a customer service rep. And I was like super senior in college. It's like 20, 21 maybe. And I think if you were to say, what is the secret to my success personally, honestly, it's like, I guess it's personality. I have a way with being personable with people. Mm-hmm. And I think in corporate life, you succeed and you run up the ladder if you're a liked person. Mm-hmm. If you're really smart and have all the skills, but you're unliked, you're not going to make it very far. I certainly wasn't skillful. I wasn't technical. I wasn't that smart. I didn't have a degree. But somehow, like, I was that guy in the conference room that made the CEO laugh. And then became his son's friend. And I got invited to his house and we got to play golf. And then he gave me all these opportunities. And, and then I took my work ethics, which is beyond time. I'm an extremely prompt person and I have really good work ethics. And he put these really lofty responsibilities on my shoulders. And I built out
Bro, this sounds like a Martin Scorsese movie. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
But in that movie, you'd be the CEO's son's Coke dealer.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt. but like I built out a 300-seat call center back in the infomercial days.
Wow!
And really took that CEO into his next level of wealth or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I got almost scouted, but like someone approached me and I applied and I became a consultant for PricewaterhouseCoopers as soon as I graduated college, and which allowed me to go to MBA school pretty easily.
I see.
And it kind of like snowballed from there. Yeah. And at Pricewaterhouse, I was in charge of a group of Indian IT developers, and like I using personability became really good friends with that community and was kind of the liaison to the corporate people at the top, which I also became really good friends with, I'm really good friends with the CEO of Union Bank. I don't know who.
Yeah, who's the most powerful person that you're friends with?
Probably the CEO of Union Bank, who was a senior vice president at Countrywide Bank, where I worked at after consulting. And he brought me on a Countrywide, and I became like a senior manager, and I had big projects. And I really loved that period of my life because of that corporate camaraderie. But, it was just a low six-figure job. It's not like something that you're going to become rich off of.
I love that, dude. In the 90s, it was a low six-figure job.
I know.
Come on, dude.
It wasn't 90s. It was like early 2000s.
Okay.
And I say low six figures. I think I was 110,000.
Yeah, after taxes, that ain't shit, dude. You're not pulling in shit. You're a small-time guppy, bro.
But the thing I did was all my peers were buying the cookie cutter homes in Westlake,
right,
and getting the $4,000, $5,000 mortgages.
Yeah,
and I was newly married. Got married when I was 30, and I told my wife, I said, I don't want to buy a house. I want to buy a 4-unit and live in one of them and have the other 3 units pay for my mortgage.
Savvy businessman.
That's the first thing
Jay was like, I want to be a landlord.
Lord, yeah.
I want to
it didn't
control
start
people.
there. My mom actually had a small little house in Van Nuys, and she kind of taught me the real estate business acumen because that was her income property.
I see.
And she had a beauty supply store that she sold for a $70,000 profit. And so to offset that profit, capital gains tax, she sold me when I was 18. This was like when I was literally 18 years old. She sold me that little house.
Oh, okay. And kept the money in the family, essentially.
Yeah, and she sold it to me at a $70,000 loss. And so she didn't have to pay that capital gains tax. I took ownership of it.
Smart.
And I started renting it out. I rented it out for $900 a month. And I remember every time they moved out, I'd paint it and get it ready. At 18, I was learning how to
be a landlord. Yeah.
And I flipped that one and then bought a condo, flipped it. And then I got into stocks, and then that fucking ruined me. I lost then the 2001 crisis.
You were a part of the .com bubble. You were front and center.
That screwed me up. I lost my entire, building up to that point. And I remember losing like 40,000 in like 3 days. And,
yikes.
But someone said, just hold on to it. And I said, no, I sold it. And I literally took whatever I had left and I bought a condo in Pasadena. And 11 months later, I doubled, because as soon as the .com bust, real estate was so cheap. And if you bought it, it started appreciating. And then it just grew to the '08 bubble. And by the time I was at the '08 bubble, I had accumulated properties doing that fourplex thing. I had maybe 3 properties. And 2007, I had this gut feeling, literally a gut feeling. I heard what one of my properties had appreciated 2-3 times. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. And I put one house up for sale. I had 300 people walk through the open house.
Wow.
Had multiple offers at ridiculously. I had already profited on it. And then sold that one. And then it was just I'm going to sell it all. So I sold all of my properties, threw good 7 figures into the bank, and then bought my business in 2008.
Ah, interesting. So would you say that was your big paycheck moment, selling all those properties? Or because, in terms of windfall, right? Especially because you come from a family that didn't have a lot of money. When you started coming into money, you said you leased an S-Class, for instance. Were there things that you wanted to do when you came into a substantial amount of money?
Cars.
Just cars.
I am into cars. Sorry, Celine.
No, he loves cars. I mean, you posted a picture of your Porsche the other day, and even Jaehyun was like, this is a beautiful car.
Yeah, and I wanted to say, I have 2 Porsches, not 3, but they're not...
Get out.
Everyone thinks Porsche, he's got the latest 911, blah, blah, blah. I would love to have the latest 911, but...
You're a classic car.
Everything I own... I bought for a lot less than it's worth today. And every day that I own it, it gets worth more.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I've learned, at least for me, that I only invest in things that I want to enjoy. So I don't invest in stocks. I don't invest in coins. I don't invest in anything that I look on a laptop and say, "Oh, I've gotten richer." I invest in things that I could sit in the living room and go,
Do you do a lot of art investing?
No, I would love to, but I don't know enough about it. Yeah.
For just a 30% fee, I could be your consultant for high-end art.
I love art.
Because Aaron
though. I
knows
just
so
don't-
much about
I don't
fine
know.
art.
I just
I would
use
love
an
to pick your
AI
brain.
tool.
Yeah, I love to pick your brain. My mom's an artist. I'm really into art. My whole family's artists, but it's something I don't know much about. I know there's tax advantages for sure.
Yeah.
But going back to cars, it's like my love for cars is not because honestly, when you buy a nice car, you don't get chicks. You don't. It's not.
Wait, you don't?
No, it's not.
What have I been saving up this money for?
The people that appreciate nice things like that are dudes. Other dudes with other nice cars.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely not that. It's that I've always grown up like Speed Racer was the cartoon that I'd always watch. I'd always watch movies like Le Mans with Steve McQueen. It's that romanticizing that freedom, that exhilaration, and I'm a total adrenaline junkie. I've always been surf skate. It's like ski. I just love things that are fast and like.
Same.
Yeah, I love that. And,
Yeah.
Sue's ideal car is an Audi R8.
R8.
Yeah.
which
She owned
You
and
have one.
sold
I sold it,
apparently
yeah. It was one
before
of my
I could
favorite
take
cars
it on a
ever.
little ride.
It's one of my favorite cars ever for sure. But it's that feeling of that. Yeah, it's that freedom and exhilaration, and I really like old cars because there's nothing between you and the pavement but just mechanical analog. Just
You're such
Metal.
a purist, man. Listening to you talk
Yeah.
about cars is kind of inspiring.
yeah.
I don't feel that way about cars whatsoever, but I've only like, yeah. My aunt let me drive her Porsche once from Hannam Ogori to Sungchinam Byungwon. So I did like a U-turn, and I was so nervous. It was so low to the ground.
Yeah.
She took a picture of me. This is back when I was single.
Yeah.
She's like, you can put this on your dating profiles. It was just, and
You're like this. You're like,
if I can find the photo, I'll
pants.
post it. But I look so dumb. Just like I'm like cheesing really hard and like trying to look natural. I think I just bought my Rolex, so I was just like, I look so stupid. Some people wear nice things and like drive nice cars and like they look like they fit into that lifestyle, and I'm just not that person because I didn't grow up in that world, right? For you, when you're saying earlier that your friends in LA only kind of know you as like a rich person, right? But you also are really tight with your like childhood friends, I want to say.
Well, the story is, going way back. Like I said, I came from a broken family, and my parents happened to have settled down in Sherman Oaks, California, which at the time was the home of the start of Valley Girl. I mean, the Vals. I feel like our community invented Vans, and it was just that era that all that like
Dazed and Confused.
Ugg boots were for men back then. Honestly, I had Ugg boots, but it was just like it was that kind of like that typical Gen X punk rock surf skate environment, and that's where all my friends came from. And obviously with that, I thought I was Rastafarian. I was a pharmacist before I knew what pharmacy was. You know what I mean? Not to get into detail, but like that lifestyle.
I think that says quite a bit.
That lifestyle actually, when we got a little older, the advent of Atari and Nintendo and Donkey Kong and that stuff was just coming up, and then all my friends were getting a little older, and they were burning out. I found myself sitting in some of my friends' room just burning out, not doing the things that we used to do when we were kids. And I said, enough of this. This is not what I want to be. And so I kind of followed this kind of pretty girl into a Christian club at school, and I kind of found church
found God.
Found
Whoa.
God.
That
and-
was not on the outline, but let's
Yeah.
get into it, man.
Yeah, and when I
So
found
this pretty girl you followed into the church club, was that your wife?
no, it was. And she ended up not even liking me, but like it was God's way of like
Classic.
pulling me in through something that I was familiar with, whatever.
Gave
'Cause,
you like a cookie.
you know, I
crumbs.
honestly,
Follow me.
I grew up in a very white community, and being Asian back then, I remember listening to Annie's podcast where he said Asian men are the in thing nowadays. I'm like, not when I was growing up.
Honestly, not when we were growing
Yeah.
up
oh my
either.
God, I was like,
It's a very
yeah.
recent phenomenon.
It is,
Yeah,
yeah.
like I got nothing back in the day, but going into a Christian Korean community, I was like, hey, I got game, you know, and it just drew me in. But then, and then immediately I'm like, I found God. I found brotherly love. The bros were the ones that I got close to, not the girls. And it really
Standard Korean American church experience, if I might add.
yeah, I really enjoyed that. I realized that I can go bowling sober and like enjoy it, and then all of my childhood friends kind of fell through the wayside, and so I found my wife eventually through church, and then literally lived a church life throughout.
Wow.
And then recently, I would say about 10 years ago, I kind of reconnected through Facebook with a lot of my childhood friends. And of course, a few of them will always be my friends, like the Caples and, you know, like my buddy Tony and Pat, who are now just surfer, skater legends in their own right. And so I really admire, I'm proud of where I came from just to see just my friends, you know?
Yeah, but
So
but those guys weren't the ones that got you your shit together. It was the church, right?
Yeah.
It was like your
it was
wife.
my wife.
We'll be right back after this word from our sponsors. Hi, I'm George Clooney. You might be thinking, what am I doing here in South Korea? I'm here to promote my new tequila brand.
Well, he sold it.
I sold
but-
the last one.
Oh
This one's new.
no! We should not promote that one. We should do the other one.
You're stepping on the bit.
Sorry.
Anyway, that bit wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good.
Thank you.
Thank you, sponsor George Clooney, who
You're
sold the
welcome.
company already for $1 billion and gave money away to his best friends.
Did he really?
He did.
Hey, Jay, why don't you do that, man?
He gave
Give
like
away all
a
your money to your
million.
friends.
Not he didn't give all
No,
of
he
it.
gave all his
but
best friends $1 million check. I remember reading that, yeah.
Because he sold it for $1 billion, I think. So who's gonna give me $1 million when they sell
Thanks, babe.
their $1 billion company? Jay?
Don't look at me.
Jaehyun? Are you going to?
I think
create $1 billion?
I think we should all just make the agreement that if any of us makes $1 billion, all of us get $1 million from that person.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, honestly, that would be so easy.
Yeah,
you know how
dude.
much $1 billion
It's so much fucking
Oh
money.
yeah, $1 million is
$1,000 million.
Yes. So that's why giving away $1 million is nothing.
I was about to buy this guy a $100 water bottle.
Please, I'm so glad you didn't. That's literally. First of all, he has like 4 water bottles. I've seen them.
Yeah.
Would
Yeah,
you
but
want
you don't have one from Dover Street Market.
Yeah, and you know me, I like my fancy water bottles and fancy stuff.
You bougie, brother.
Yeah.
You do like fancy stuff, though.
I guess I kind of low-key do.
Wait, should we pivot the
But-
conversation real quick to just like bougie shit? Because, you know, Jay, I don't consider you a bougie person at all. I think
He's
you're
wearing
really
merch.
mellow. You're really down to earth. But as you were saying
26
earlier,
years old.
you're like a skater surfer kid, right?
Yeah.
From LA. So obviously that's in your DNA. But like when I moved to Korea, I became a lot bougier, right? And I don't know how Jay, you're like almost 4 years in at this point. Are you feeling yourself getting bougier?
I don't think so, but I think the one thing that I spend money on is probably clothes. And so I'll buy like things that I know that I'll wear a bunch of times.
But it's more
And
quality.
It's like investment,
Yeah,
It's a
instead of
quality
like
thing.
cheap shit, you know.
Yeah.
But you've always been like that, right?
I've always
Before.
I've always liked, yeah, and I think I'm just more comfortable with spending a little bit more
because
Whereas-
your disposable income goes further here with the current
yeah,
exchange rate.
I guess so. Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute. That's right. You get paid in American dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, he does.
I
Little
think
snake in the
also
grass.
it's just like, what are you gonna do if all your money is in your bank and you die tomorrow? Like, I'm just being a little bit
YOLO.
more, YOLO.
Well, you did
know?
bring this up a while ago that you
Yeah.
were trying to just spend more money, basically, or,
Yeah.
or
just
not
live.
hoard it,
Just
right?
live
Live.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I used to not spend any money.
I went through a long time where I did not spend any money, and then I spent a lot of money, and then
And
now
now you have a balance.
I think I'm pretty balanced now. In
Yeah.
fact, I could probably spend more money right now.
Yeah.
So
I went through a time where like I would go to Vegas and try to load up on kind of expensive stuff, but from my experience, that's not what makes me happy. You know, so it's all it depends on who you are and what you like, and I do like aesthetic things. I love beautiful things, and they happen to be expensive, and I'll buy them once in a while. But I tend to buy things that I really want the money to work rather than depreciate. You know what I mean? So like buying a nice watch, I don't see anything wrong with it because Rolex or whatever, it's gonna keep its value.
Yeah.
And it goes back to my theory of like a philosophy of you're enjoying it while it's appreciating, you know?
Yeah.
But to buy like the latest and greatest like Ed Hardy hat back in the day, those,
hey man, that's a great reference to a beloved brand.
yeah, those trends go and they
Ed,
go up
you
and
can't
they
fucking
die.
give away an Ed Hardy hat.
Exactly.
You know what's funny? Cindy's trying to bring
I
Ed
love
Hardy
it, though.
hats
I
back.
love the aesthetics of it.
I feel like the aesthetic is coming back. Though.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
Well,
love
it
that
was-
brand just because of the aesthetics. But
Oh.
you know how brands go up and down. And so, like, you're spending money on something that's, I guess, doesn't have legs.
There was a time that I thought ankle socks would never die, and apparently now ankle socks are an indicator that you're an old, out of touch millennial.
You're a millennial, yeah.
But back in like 2006, I was like, I don't know why we ever wore anything that were not ankle socks. And I even got an ankle tattoo being like, this will always be visible anytime I wear pants.
The one thing I do, like, I have a relative that does well, and I don't like people who. Well, I like everybody, but I don't like people who don't spend their money. Like Jay says, he's got some money. You should spend it on something that you like. I don't like people who like have enough money to buy an apartment on Hanggang, but then choose to buy a tiny office-tel somewhere in nowhere's land just because they're cheap. You know what I mean? Because both are going to appreciate, but why not? You know what I mean?
They're not putting their money to work the most effective way, basically.
Yeah.
In
sounds
enjoyment.
inefficient.
You have to have some enjoyment out of what you buy, I think. I don't know. That's just my thing.
I mean, I think that's a preference thing, though,
Yeah.
because I could strong arm a reason why buying an office tel when you can afford a $5 million penthouse is fucking sick. Like, that's dope. That's the ultimate flex, you know?
Yeah.
Be like, yeah, I live in this little cushy one, but like, check out my balance. It's like,
Yeah.
ka-ching.
But that sounds awful because you're like,
that's a very drastic example.
Yeah, I'm being
Yeah.
facetious,
But
but
they're not gonna show you their
Of course,
balance.
of course,
They're
of
gonna
course.
have 5 office towels. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And they're
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
live in one of them and like kind of suffer in the small when they could just as well buy themselves a really nice place. You
and
know
then
what
it
I
would
mean?
apprate the same
Yeah.
amount of
Yeah.
like
But
over the
just
same
because
course.
I'm cheap, I'm gonna suffer.
Well, but also
Yeah.
bear in mind that bigger properties comes with more responsibility. You have to get cleaners. You have to just,
That's
it's
true.
more of a headache.
Yeah.
There could be more
I-
risk. It's like if you have multiple, you can diversify the risk versus
When
like,
I was young, I remember this conversation we had. My mom worked in banking, so she was always talking about money. And I said something like, it doesn't matter what kind of car you drive, as long as it takes you from point A to point B. And she looked at me and gave me the most like loving smile. Like I had said the most like beautiful thing. Cause that's what my mom has always believed.
Yeah.
Like nice things don't really matter. It's about functionality. And that really like ingrained itself on me of like,
Yeah.
I don't think that nice things are worth it. And I went that way my entire life until I got my first big paycheck. And then I was like, should I get the Hyundai Elantra or should I get the BMW? And that conversation like came back into my head of like, you hypocrite. Why would you get the Beamer? Like, it's twice as expensive, 3 times as expensive. Why would you get it? But then there's the other part of me of like, well, I worked fucking hard. I want the nicer car.
Yeah.
And it was this really like weird moment of reflection and revisiting like, why do I even believe that? Like, I said that to my mom because I knew it would make her happy, and she responded so favorably. I was like literally like 10 years old. Even in high school, when we were in high school, Jay, it was a big movement of like I thrifted everything I wore. I was really into like the cheapest shit you can buy is like the flex basically, and then we got older. Our generation got older, and it was like, no, I have money. I should just buy like a nice shirt. Why am I thrifting everything?
I think there's a difference between like being cheap, which can be really annoying, and then being frugal. So if you're just like, smart with your money, you don't want to just waste it on stuff. And then I think there's a difference between having money and spending it on like a BMW because you want something nice. You're going to drive in it every day.
Yeah.
It's going to bring you, happiness and comfort versus not being able to afford it, but like taking a loan out and then doing it just to be flashy. Like that's completely different.
Yeah.
So
I was living in LA at the time though. And that 100% informed my decision because you can't live in LA and not drive at least a 3 Series or a C Class. Like, who are you?
Not true, but
True.
that's like a person. I
lived
feel
in
like
Pasadena, and I was like, everyone here drives a nice car and is Armenian. What's going on?
it is kind of. I mean, there's truth to that statement, but I think. Yeah, I feel like it's important to not spend for the sake of spending and for like others. You know what I mean? Perception.
I'm definitely not the kind of person. I mean, we live in Korea, which is one of the flashiest places ever.
Yeah.
In this country, especially, it's very flashy. It's very superficial. We all hang out. None of us is like doing anything super crazy. Well, actually, that kind of segs into a question I wanted to open up to everyone, which is like, what is like the first thing that you did? Kind of treat yourself to when you got your first big paycheck or you felt sort of comfortable with where you were?
I don't know. I feel like for me, I never, like, it's probably food and booze, but I'll take my friends out. Like, I think that's what it was.
Good food and booze.
Yeah, I would spend it on...
You spend it on food and booze, yeah. That makes sense.
I spend it on food and booze with friends. Something that I do regret because I did too much of that when I was younger because I was, like, super into... I was a foodie and I like drinking. Not regret completely, but sometimes I'm like, oh, if you had just ate a little bit less, you know what I mean? Like, maybe you would have saved a little bit more type of thing. But... I still enjoyed my time then. Yeah. So I don't really, I'm kind of like Jay. I like nice cars, but because I like to drive fast. And
we've been in your car before.
Yes. Yeah. And it's not real. It's never because somebody's driving this car. Like, I don't like to compare. I don't like bags, as you guys know. I don't like carrying shit. Like, I'm not like the typical like woman, not to generalize or stereotype. But yeah, I think.
I'll never forget when we were organizing your last apartment and Amy like opened a box and just pulled out from underneath a bunch of shit a Chanel bag. Just like a $7,000 bag. And you're like, I think she was like, you should put this in a dust bag or something. You're like, oh, no, it's fine. Just put it on a bookshelf over there and, just sat there for another year.
I probably shouldn't do that. But yeah, I feel like it's one of those things just... Like, if I have it, I'm just going to treat it like any other bag, which I don't carry, so it kind of gathers dust. But it was a gift. So I just want to point that out there. Yeah. What about you, Jay? What have you purchased?
Well, see, I don't really spend that much money on like nice things. I think one thing that I would spend money on are like guitars, but like I've never spent more than $1,000 on a guitar.
That's like, a lot of money, I'd say.
Yeah, but guitars can go up to like $3,000 easy for like a really solid, nice one. But like the one that I play and I love is this Canadian one that I got off of Craigslist for like $500. I did just buy a guitar last week, though.
Oh, shit. What kind?
For your birthday?
Yeah, kind of. So Korea's version of Craigslist is Tangun or Carrot. And, like, I'm constantly just checking what's out there to see if, like, there's going to be a deal or, like, someone who doesn't know what they have and just trying to get rid of it. And I found a vintage Yamaha acoustic guitar from, like, the 1970s.
Ooh.
And I was kind of on the lookout for a Yamaha because my favorite musician played a Yamaha. And
is that Yujeha or is that Elliott Smith?
Elliott Smith.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yamaha is my favorite.
Yeah, and so I found this acoustic guitar from the 70s. It's not like a crazy expensive one. Even now, like I think you can find it on eBay or something for like $1,500. But I found it for like
Shimanon?
$600 US
okay.
or something, and I'm like,
It hasn't come yet though.
no, I got it. So I was watching it while it was at like $900, and he
dropped the price,
kept lowering it.
He plays beautiful.
And then I was like, I got to get it. I happened to have a rental car with me, and I was like, I drove out of the city and got it.
Wow.
And it's pretty sick.
Damn, you went on a little adventure,
shit.
bro.
Congratulations.
And
That's like a...
Yeah, but see, like, this isn't even an
Big find.
expensive guitar. It's
right.
like less than $1,000. Guitars, like vintage guitars, can cost so much money.
So do you think that in the future, if you were to buy like a big, say you invested 10 grand in something, would it be probably like a piece of music equipment?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't even know what I could spend 10 grand on other than like a car. And if I was like super rich, I might just buy like a Hyundai
Elantra.
Super rich.
Like,
He's going to buy
honestly,
Hyundai.
Yeah.
I mean, Jay Lee would be
Genesis.
pissed at me. He'd be like,
I
"What are
feel like you're
doing?"
a Genesis kind of guy.
Yeah, get a
Genesis are
Genesis,
nice.
man.
I love
Yeah,
Genesis.
those are nice. Yeah.
What did you buy besides your leasing your S Class?
I bought stuff for my wife. My wife has a bag collection that she brought recently over to Korea, but I did buy her a python skin Louis Vuitton bag.
Wow.
Yeah, it was back in the day. It was 10 grand, and
Oh my
it
gosh.
was illegal to be sold in Los Angeles, so we got it in Hawaii.
Oh. That is some Scarface
That is-
shit.
Yeah, dude,
It's-
what the hell?
And I think it's worth double.
I got her a tit job.
It's worth double now.
I'm
for
sure, dude. A python skin bag, you can't buy that shit anymore.
Yeah, it's one of those big like bags.
Does it bother her though because she's vegan
she's vegan now, so like I don't buy any of that stuff
Yeah.
anymore, which is like a huge pay increase for me.
So you splurged on your wife, basically.
I did.
Okay.
That's what happens, I guess, when you get.
I try to buy Jan things all the time. She never wants anything.
I bought a full-size Steinway.
Oh, piano.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Pianos are nice.
In the future, I always say that would be
Yeah.
my first thing.
But
I would get a baby
But
grand.
again, I think it's appreciated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
So-
I would buy a nice piano if I had the space for it and everything. I would 100% buy a nice piano.
Yeah.
Yeah. I try to buy stuff for Jaehyun sometimes, and she like doesn't ever really want anything. Although lately I've been buying her random gifts, and she's very grateful. Obviously,
yeah.
I think that's better. I think it's better to not be like, "What do you want?" but like surprise her with a gift, because she probably is always thinking like, you guys want to build together. You guys just got married, right? Like all that stuff.
No, I asked ChatGPT. It's like, how do you keep your wife happy? And it was like, number one, surprises.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like for me, I think the first thing I bought probably was the car, right?
I feel like that's your
the car and the watch. That was the same year.
the Beamer and the Rolex.
The Beamer and the Rolex were like I was like, I did it. And then I got it out of my system. Well, that same year, I also bought like fucking Common Project shoes, Gucci sandals, Gucci shirt, like all this stupid bullshit.
You had a lot of Gucci merch.
I still have those Gucci sandals, and I still have the Gucci shirt. These are purchases from 6 years ago.
That's
by the
true.
way.
The Gucci slides are used.
It's not like I
let
just
it be
wore it
known.
for a season. Yeah.
Slipper.
Now those Gucci slides are slippers for the veranda, and they are like torn the fuck up.
I'm pretty sure when we played basketball one time, you wore the Gucci shirt.
Yeah.
Playing
It's
I
like
did
a
wear the
workout.
Gucci-
It's
yeah,
like
my
a workout shirt.
Yeah.
Now it's Jaehyun's bedtime shirt, and that's why I bought it. I was like, this is for my future wife.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I was playing the long game.
Yeah.
Well, if we're running out of time, I do want to share one last.
Oh no, we're not running out of time at all. But continue.
Just to get into a little deeper topic, because I don't want to come across as a really superficial rich dude.
I don't think you're coming across as superficial or rich.
But
I feel like there were a lot of golden nuggets.
yeah,
like insight,
good.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I definitely wanted to tell you guys like it took a long time to realize this in my life. I mean, I realized it pretty recently. It definitely it's become a lot more intense being with you guys in this community. And it's just that I think that my biggest kind of like recommendation, or I don't know, not a recommendation, but like my philosophy in life now that I'm just going to live by, and then it's the most truest form of life is love. And I think love without judgment, and
tough.
It's the toughest thing.
Without judgment,
it's the toughest
Sue's
thing
head
that you
will
can.
Explode.
Toughest thing that I could possibly conquer in my life. I mean, there's so many things in my life that other people think, wow, you've done this, it's so tough to do this and this and this. But I've come to realize that for myself, the toughest thing is love without judgment. Mm-hmm. And then if love is literally the one and only thing that you can just focus on, everything it's incredibly joyous. Your life becomes just so free and light. But here's the catch. You have to love yourself first. Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking about like looking in the mirror like, oh, I love my eyes, I love my eyelashes or whatever. It's not that. It's loving what you've done in your life and loving what you've been given in this life, and just with the people, the surroundings, the nature, everything that you appreciate in life, and saying, I love that about myself. I love that I've lived this life. I love that I have these friends. I love myself that I'm getting to live this life through. And then if you really, truly believe in that, and you really, truly love yourself first, it's just natural to love everyone else. So love yourself first and love everyone around you with no judgment. And that's like, if you can accomplish that, that's the ultimate.
Dude, spoken like a true Rastafarian, man.
Yeah.
That's
Rastafari.
Yeah. Pretty sure Bob Marley said the same thing. No, I 100% agree that good things happen to people who are good, basically, right? And I think being good, if we're going to get philosophical about it, is like, yeah, gratitude is very important. Empathy is very important. Like there's a reason why these are virtues and they're not vices. There's no world in which being grateful is a vice, right?
Yeah.
And, you said earlier about like, oh, I don't really know, like, I didn't do anything crazy to like be successful. It just kind of happened. But what you're also saying is that you lived a sort of a life of love, and the teachings of Jesus Christ have certainly laid his hands on you, son, and you're blessed with God's warmth, and he radiates through you. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I was gonna make a joke. I'm not gonna make that joke.
I was like, is he gonna start a bit here?
I was like, don't do the bit.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have to. I don't think we have to end the episode necessarily right here, because I do want to know, in terms of, you came to South Korea and now you're hanging out with like new friends. Like we're all recent friends basically in the last year. How is the transition to living in South Korea, man? And also, how is it like hanging out with people who are, 10, 15, 20 years younger than you?
I'm appreciating the fact that you guys accept me, even though I'm almost old enough to be your dad.
We're not ageist.
We're not.
And it's like, like,
wow.
Like,
yes, Jay, good zinger. That was awesome.
If you always, you look at the movies and sometimes there's a group of friends and they're really close. There's always an older guy there. Age is not a big thing, but like, I really appreciate that you guys don't see me as like the old boomer dude. I'm sure I could if I was the old boomer dude.
Kidding.
You guys would see me that way, but I definitely feel like you guys accepted me in this community, and I love and appreciate you guys for that. But I want to say though that remember that the period in my life where I did enjoy the kind of fast life, surfing, skating, and partying and all that stuff. And then I went into the church life.
Right.
Well, you guys basically in this community are much closer to the original life that I had, but Korean. Which is like,
so it kind of fuses those two.
It fuses those two, and like for me,
because they're
like,
all church boys, actually.
Well, hell yeah, we are.
but I had one of like the most negative times of my life was with church people.
Oh,
and it's not
Point on the doll where they touched you.
That's a whole other podcast, I would think, on kind of the superficialness of that community.
No, for sure.
And I feel like everybody is so true to themselves. And when they confide in me, they're confiding in truism. And I could see that. And I sense it. And it's just such a breath of fresh air. Mm-hmm. So this community is so valuable to me in that it's brought me back to kind of like my roots.
Yeah.
But with people that are Korean, which is crazy.
Yeah, I was thinking about this in Singapore, right? Hanging out with Justin and Elena's friends, and like obviously these are very superficial interactions because we're just kind of passing through. But I met some pretty fun people that I felt like, hey, if we lived here, I would definitely want to hang out with you guys. You seem like cool people. And then it made me think about my Korea crew, where it's like, yeah, we have like pretty deep conversations. It's like I don't feel like things are surface level with at least our friend group because a lot has happened in our friend group, and like we've had some uncomfortable conversations, confrontations. Like it's gone through every fucking the whole gamut.
It's like a real family.
We've really talked about a lot of things. Yeah, it feels like that.
A real family,
and it continues to be that. And I do wonder how like other friend groups. I guess I would imagine that I don't know how Justin and Elena and their friends in Singapore. How deep they get into things, or even my homies back in the States with their like new friends with their kids, all hanging out, going camping. Like I don't really know how deep people get into things, but in this community in Korea, because it's so insular and tight knit, and we see each other all the time, and like word gets out pretty fast about whatever's going on, the gossip. It kind of feels like. Almost like a little melodrama miniseries type thing. Like if they made a reality show, like this would be season 10, and like it's the #1 show in Korea. Like it's a fucking reality show
for sure.
Yeah.
In Aaron's world,
in my world,
it's trending #1 on Netflix.
and living in Korea is crazy because I go to LA a lot, and every time I go back, I gain 5 kilos, 7 kilos, just because of the food. It's just the food here is on a different level.
Do you like living in Korea?
I love living in Korea, and it's safety, cleanliness. It's all the cliche stuff about Korea is just so true. Of course, LA has its greatness, the nature, the trees, the fresh air. I miss that, and they just going into a parking lot and just having like tons of room to park. These things are important, and
there's a lot of land.
There's a lot of land
out there,
and but Korea's crazy. I mean, like in LA, I got Starbucks, and I got to get in the car to go there, and it's like the only coffee spot I can go to.
Here, and now you live in an apartment complex that has everything.
8 coffee shops downstairs, and like
every block has at least 3 coffee shops.
Yeah, and they're all competing for quality, so it's always good.
Yeah.
And
that's true.
I just really, really appreciate Korea for that.
Yeah. Korea's awesome.
And I'm an improver now, which put me on another level of life.
Improv is great. Improv is fun. I haven't been in a while. This morning, so funny. This is a shout out to Jaehyun because when we first started dating, I would do improv bits and she would be like, no, basically like, what are you doing? And then throughout the course of our relationship, I'd be like, come on, babe, just say yes and she's like, every time I do a bit, she just goes into it with me. But I used to have a thing with her where when she blocked me on something, I'd be like, hey, ma'am, is this your first time at the store? And she'd be like, I'm not a woman. And she'd do something that totally blocks a scene. So my bit to her would be like, okay, worst improv ever. And I just like walk away. And she's been really good lately. But this morning we were doing a bit and I was like, I think my bit was something like, your voice is beautiful. She was singing to herself in her room. And I was like, coming in and I was like, wow, I've never heard such an angelic voice. You must be Kathy. I've heard so much about you. And she goes, my name's not Kathy. It's Sarah. Worst improv ever. And then we continued. And then we said, and then scene. And that's how we normally end it.
Yeah. That's cute.
It is cute. My life is cute, guys. Super cute. Any final words? This was a great episode, Jay. I hope you got everything out that you wanted to say. Anything else you want to share or tidbits?
Any closing remarks?
No, I love you guys. This is great. Yeah, I'm probably going to cringe at the sound of my voice.
Yeah, Jay was like, I hate the sound of my voice and I hate myself on camera. And I was like, get ready for the reels, baby.
Yeah,
well, one thing for sure, I got to take more pictures of myself because I'm like, it's hard to find pictures of myself. And I worry that like in the future, I'm going to want to see pictures of myself. My family's going to want to see pictures of me. And
oh, hell yeah.
Okay, we'll make that like
important.
Point number one. Every time we're out, take it right now.
No, literally though, one of my favorite things to do when I'm super blackout drunk is I always find out the next day. There's like at least 5 selfies at home where I'm just like,
really? You take selfies?
Oh it's so funny, but I'm plastered. So my eyes are just like glazed over. But then I look at them, I'm like, oh God, I got to delete these. But then I'm like, wait, you never take pictures of yourself. So I put them into a special like hidden album so that nobody sees it. You have to send us some because we got to clip this and just put a few of the top ones. That's hilarious. Yeah, so maybe you should. Oh, you never get blackout drunk.
You don't get blackout drunk. Well, we'll just make sure we take a lot of photos of you, and we'll just, dude, every day after we hang out with Jay, just everyone just barrage him with hundreds of photos.
Yeah, we'll just like airdrop that shit at the end of the night.
And before we leave, just a plug. Metacool.com.
Metacool.com.
And I am opening a new brand this year in Korea.
Ooh, apparel, right?
Apparel brand.
That's right.
With my daughter. And it's called
And this is not a bit. This is a real thing.
Like HMMM?
HMMM.
Okay.
Woo.
All right. Nice plug.
I love that. I would call it H and M and M&M. That's my one note for you.
Okay.
H&M and M&M.
Okay.
Is I think really way funnier.
Stepped it up a notch.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of the Side Dish Podcast. For all the new listeners out there, we're very grateful that you are tuning in. Please continue to support the podcast by liking, subscribing, tell your friends about it. Leave a comment or a rating actually on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. That does help the algorithm. And with that said, we'll catch you guys in the next episode.
Bye.